Guys, Oda's editors are back at it, in full force, giving us some incredible new information about the Yonko. Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, it is time for some big news. Guys, this came from VJump. And frankly, I am not certain if I want to take this as 100% canon. But we'll discuss that as we get to it. Let's just read the quote. There were several people in the community who translated this, but I will use Mushi's translation because that is what Dritz did. What are the Yonko's bounties? ? Are these two monsters talking about Kaido and Big Mom over 2 billion? Even though he, talking about Shanks, is the only non-Devil Fruit user among the Yonko, he is able to match up against a Navy Admiral. I get the feeling that his bounty might be the highest of all. This man is an unknown quantity that deals with the Gorosei. Alright guys, take a deep breath, take it all in, and absorb what was just said. Keep in mind that this was written by the editors of Shonen Jump. First things first, and most obviously, it seems to be confirmation of what many people thought, not everybody, many people thought, that Shanks does not have a Devil Fruit. Now maybe it isn't too out there to just say it, right? Because last time that we saw Shanks do really anything in the story when Luffy was young, he was obviously swimming, so therefore at that point he did not have a Devil Fruit. And even at the time he was very concerned that Luffy ate a Devil Fruit himself, saying that you would forever lose the ability to swim, which seemed to be, of value to him. However, a lot of time has passed, gave room for a lot of speculation, which it seems like the editors felt like shutting down. Now let's move on to the next thing. They specifically mentioned the value of 2 billion when referring to the speculation of what the bounties of Big Mom and Kaido will be, which is interesting because Blackbeard's bounty was recently revealed to be 2 billion, and a lot of people just kind of assumed that since Blackbeard was the new Yonko on the block, that Kaido and Big Mom would have higher bounties. They just had a longer time to accumulate that bounty. And it's almost as if the editors are implying that we should lower our expectations. For the editors to say this and for it to have an ounce of truth, and then the bounties later to be revealed as, 4 billion, 5 billion, or even higher than that, would just seem kind of ridiculous. Almost misleading. It now seems much more likely, if this is true, that Big Mom and Kaido's bounties are a lot closer to 2 billion. The real clickbait here is the mention of Shanks. I get the feeling that his bounty might be the highest of all, guys. They're basically outright saying, unless this is just 100% misleading, that Shanks has the highest bounty of all the Yonko. So the editors who know the future of One Piece have a feeling that Shanks has the highest bounty? So I really don't talk about bounties much on my channel, but I think it's time for me to share some of my thoughts. Guys, I don't really care that much about bounties, because a lot of the times they don't have quite the significance that a lot of people place on them. A lot of people like to directly equate bounty to power level, which I disagree with. A lot of times, every time bounties are revealed, people get irritated because they don't match up with people's perspective on that character's power level. A great example was when Sabo's bounty was revealed, which shortly thereafter we could compare with Perospero, and Perospero has a higher bounty than him, even though he is the number 2 of the Revolutionary Army. And Perospero is comparatively a nobody, not even a sweet commander. I'm just gonna be frank, bounties are a tool One Piece uses. It's almost like clickbait in a way. It's just a trope of the genre that people in general really like. But I prefer what Dragon Ball Z does better, with just straight up scouter readings of somebody's strength, rather than bounties which can be manipulated in several different ways. Like for instance, you can have warlords whose bounties get frozen. It also matters what those particular characters do to earn that bounty. Like for instance, I don't think that Luffy was any stronger than Law before the time skip, yet he had a higher bounty than Law, most likely because of the things that he actually did. And Kid had an even higher bounty than him because of all the casualties that he caused along his way through the Grand Line. Even relating this to Luffy's new bounty, this irritated a lot of people when it was revealed, because he's clearly not worth 1.5 billion berries as far as pure strength yet, because Katakuri was at least his equal, and somehow Luffy earned 500 million berries more. Or even comparing Katakuri's bounty to Jack's bounty, Jack now confirmed to be the weakest of Kaido's Yonko commanders, has a similar bounty value to Katakuri, who is Big Mom's strongest. So people say, oh, well, you know, Jack is just as strong as Katakuri. Kaido's crew is stronger than Big Mom's. Again, I don't think so. Jack is reckless and violent, much more so than Katakuri. Jack has a much higher bounty than, say, Cracker, even though they are the same tier level of Yonko commander, because he is just that much more wanted. He has a higher bounty, he's more wanted by the world government, and more dangerous to the world. So along the way for me, the significance of the bounty is kind of lost. As far as the tropes of the genre that I also enjoy, like for instance in Dragon Ball, it's just cool to have a straight up numerical value ranking somebody's strength, so that when you fight somebody stronger, you're like, wow, look at that power level. But bounties just don't work in the same way. Because there are all sorts of other factors involved in it, it just takes away from the hype of the reveal. For me now, it's just mildly interesting, and more so generally relevant. And so I know that a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, Shanks has the highest bounty. It means he's the strongest Yonko here. The editors confirmed that. No, I really don't think so. I think that more than anything, this suggests that Shanks is just more dangerous to the world government because of things that he might know. And frankly, this makes a ton of sense to me because Shanks was a previous member of the Roger Pirates. Granted, we don't know if Shanks has actually been to Raft. A lot of people suggest that maybe he and Buggy didn't, but I don't think that there's any information which contradicts that. I mean, being a member of the Roger Pirates, he should have went on all of the journeys that they did, all the way to Raftel, meaning that he, just like everybody else, knows the secrets of the world, secrets that the Gorosei and the world government do not want shared. Blackbeard, Big Mom, and Kaido have definitely not been to Raftel, so Shanks having a higher bounty makes sense to me, given that he should be roughly an equal to them in strength. But I do still think that we should listen to the story more so than the bounty, which has all sorts of other factors affecting it. The people of the One Piece world believe that in a one-on-one fight, you should bet on Kaido. So in my opinion, in a one-on-one fight, Kaido is the strongest Yonko currently, even if he ends up having a lower bounty. The same sort of applies to Dragon, who we assume will have the highest bounty in the story because he is the only person who is actively against what the world government stands for and fights them, and everything that he does is a fight, contributes to the fight against the world government. So then he should be a more wanted person. A lot of people think that Dragon should just be the strongest person. I don't think so. I think that Dragon might be Yonko level in terms of fighting ability, might actually be below them, but still with a higher bounty. Again, guys, I don't find a lot of value in bounties. But yeah, maybe some of you right now are reading into what I'm saying and kind of sense the negative tone that I have. And it's not because I'm against any of this information or like this contradicts any of my headcanon. It has nothing to do with that. It's more so that I'm tired of the editors revealing this information outside of the story. This information is not readily available to people in the English community. We have to rely on news sources and translators and whatnot to get it, and then, you know, it's just so much more satisfying when we actually read the story and then see the bounty number. We don't need you to help us speculate. Editors, you don't need to hype us up for things that we are already hyped for. And yeah, maybe me, myself, I am not particularly hyped by this information, but I know that so many of you are, and I know, I can tell you, that you would have enjoyed it more in the story. There was no need to get this information out as soon as possible. Wait until it is their moment in the story. And don't reveal people's abilities before we have a chance to see it for ourselves, even if what we speculate is what is the case. Just to me, guys, there really is a thing about saying too much. I know that a lot of you know that I've been reading the Stormlight Archive and Brandon Sanderson a lot recently, and he is super active in his community, which I applaud. But at all these conventions, fans ask him questions, and he, and a lot of times, actually answers them to the point to where, you know, I almost feel deflated, less hyped about things that I don't 100% know. The fun for me is in the possibilities leading up to the actual reveal in the story. But now in reality, if you are a part of the community, the fandom itself, you almost have to know this information because it is officially out there. But what makes this possibly even worse in my eyes is that this entire thing comes off as an opinion piece. A lot of people for the longest time referenced some of the One Piece data books as fact. Like for instance, a lot of people who are new to the community may not know this, but it was a huge question as to whether or not Sabo was alive or not. And then in this argument for people who thought that he was confirmed dead, they referenced these data books saying, oh look, right here, deceased. The editors approved this information and it was published, therefore confirming Sabo's death. But of course, Sabo was actually alive, as a lot of us figured out because of the context clues, because of some of the foreshadowing. So the databooks were opinion pieces. They gave us information that we already knew. They basically told us what the story had already suggested up until that point, and it wasn't some sort of reveal booklet. So in the case of this news, you have Yonko's bounty, Blackbeard revealed 2 billion. Oh, will the other Yonko have a higher bounty than the revealed Yonko's bounty? See, look, Shanks doesn't have a devil fruit as it was suggested at the beginning of the story. And we as fans predict that Shanks could be the person with the highest bounty of them all. So yeah, mixed feelings about this one, guys. But as always, I am curious as to what you guys think. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.